that down. Let's move on to this, shall we? Daredevil Born Again launched last night, and I'm going to let you guys know right now that we are going to talk about the episode in open spoilery detail. Just so you guys know. So if you don't want to know anything about last night's episodes, it's not like they debut at midnight anymore. They debuted in the evening. So we're going to assume most of you guys who are really excited about this show, you've already watched it. We're going to talk about it in spoilery detail. The spoilers warning has gone up. You can mute your computer now, and then you can unmute once you see the spoilers thing comes down. Understood? Great. All right. I loved it. I'm not going to lie to you. I loved it. You know, my biggest fear, and I mentioned this on the post show last night. My biggest fear going into this Daredevil, hearing the showrunner talk. Oh, we're going to have so much crash, boom, pow, action, 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 action. We're going to have the boring talking. And I'm like, dude, the talking is what made Daredevil great. Any good stunt coordinator can come in and put together a good looking action sequence, but do you tie it in with great narrative and story and characters and depth and all that kind of stuff? That's why I've been a little bit nervous. My fears have all been alleviated. I loved the first 2 episodes. Am I going to say it's as good as Penguin yet? We're 2 episodes in. Of course, I'm not going to say that yet. Am I going to say it's as good as the Netflix thing? We're 2 episodes in. Of course, I'm not going to say that yet. But I loved what I saw. Now, of course, I did predict that Foggy was going to die. A lot of you guys predicted that Foggy was going to die. But what I did not have on my bingo card was Foggy dying in the first 5 to 10 minutes. That was not on my card. I did not get that at all. And sure enough, hey, look, guys, I'm here. Bang. Oh, I'm gone. Now, that led me to believe that the big change in story was that, you know how they shot most of the show and originally Foggy and Karen weren't going to be in it at all? I think they scrapped most of what they did, but they probably kept the bones of the story and just slid in Foggy and Karen to show this is now the same Daredevil world. Because originally, by the way, to see the interview with Vincent D'Onofrio last night where he confirmed finally straight up, yes, the version of Daredevil we were making was not connected to the Netflix series. Now it is, which is what we've been telling you guys for years anyway. Yeah. But so they just kind of slipped them in and then boom, they're gone. And we'll talk about the Foggy thing a little bit later. I love the opening action sequence. I adored the final action sequence in the apartment between the cops and whatever. The scene between Matt and Kingpin talking in the diner exceeded my expectations. It was wonderful. All the tension, yet an understanding between the two that we are connected. And there's a familiarity between them as they're talking as well. Again, best line of the night. I mentored somebody. Didn't she shoot you in the face? Best line of the night. Loved it. It was great. That's the MCU influence here in it. I love the fact that, you know, we were talking last night, Ann and I, about how you often hear about parents who lose a child, even if their marriage is great, when they lose a child, that's something they couldn't recover from. And you often see that they separate, right? And they have a bit of that with Matt and Karen. And like him saying, I just refuse to believe that this tragedy just will destroy everything. She's like, well, it did. And up and away she goes. I just loved everything about it. I can't personally think of anything that really stood out to me that left me feeling wanting. The one thing that felt a little bit weird was a result of something that I loved. I loved that this did not feel like this show felt more like Penguin than it did feel like Moon Knight. They went very grounded. It felt like an HBO show I was watching. It didn't feel like a Disney Plus. It felt like an HBO show. And then in the midst of all this groundedness and grittiness and street level stuff, Your Honor, my client did not have his magical amulet on him at the time. That all of a sudden kind of felt a little weird, but it made sense because that is they do live in the MCU after all. But for me personally, I absolutely adored it. I had a great time with it. I'm expecting more action coming because if the showrunner's talking about all the action and we got mostly drama in the first 2 episodes, which I am not complaining about at all. I loved it. Because again, that's what I was worried about. I was worried they weren't going to have enough drama. I'm big on this. I'm fully on board. I cannot wait for next week. Hey guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of today's video, PrizePicks. All right, guys, if you're watching basketball this season and not playing PrizePicks, you are seriously missing out. This is hands down the most fun way to get in on the action. PrizePicks is daily fantasy made easy. You just pick more or less on at least 2 player stats like points, rebounds, or assists for a shot to win up to 1,000 times your cash. It's available in more than 30 states, including California, Texas, and Georgia. This week, I'm looking at the board and I'm going with Luka Doncic for more than 25 points and Jason Tatum for more than 8 rebounds. That's my lineup. Simple, quick, and way more fun to watch the games. And on top of that, PrizePicks hooks you up with awesome promos like Taco Tuesday, where you get player projections at a discount for even bigger value. So download the app today and use the code Campea to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That's right, just play $5 and you get $50 automatically. PrizePicks, run your game. Anyway, Chris, you had a chance to watch the first 2 episodes of Daredevil. There was a lot of fears when they announced it. Disney's going to Disneyfy it, or I got really worried that it's just going for empty calorie fight scenes and no character drama. What were your final kind of thoughts on it after watching the first 2 episodes?
Oh, it's great so far. It's really well done. I'm not completely like, this is the greatest Marvel show I've ever seen. And I do feel like that did kind of mar how I was feeling about this. I tried to stay away from so many people's reviews because so many people were jumping online who saw the first 2 episodes. It's the greatest thing Marvel's ever done, hands down. This is the best show. And I was like, it's 2 episodes. Let's pump those brakes a little bit. But I really enjoyed what they did. I love that there is so much focus on the judicial system. I really enjoy that we're getting a courtroom drama out of this. I really like seeing that in action, doing things the quote unquote right way, as well as, you know, when things go tits up, he's got to step in and do what he's got to do. I love too that in episode 2 they paid tribute to Kamar, who passed away. The actor who played White Tiger.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, he died in December of 2023. He had been fighting cancer. And so he has wrapped all of his stuff. So his role is complete, I believe, in the show and everything. But he's phenomenal in this. I really am interested in that arc. I also took issue with that moment of, well, Your Honor, the amulet. I was like, 1, are we just going to let everybody know this man's secret identity? That seems wrong, Matthew. That seems very hypocritical. And also, what judge? I was with the DA on that one of like, this is bullshit. What are we doing here? He's a vigilante.
From a legal point of view, that scene was incredibly accurate.
Oh, really?
A judge would not allow that unless during his time as a vigilante. Again, we're talking about comic world, but legal world. But from a legal perspective, unless White Tiger in his vigilantism ever attacked a cop, it would not. You can't just pull random things from somebody's life if it's not directly connected. Because remember, the cops in this situation were not saying he was involving himself in a vigilante act, because they're saying, no, there was no guy there that we were beating up that he was sweeping in to save. They're saying he just approached us unprovoked and attacked us cops. If that's never been a part of anything in his history as White Tiger, a judge wouldn't admit that as evidence in court.
Sure, but I mean, I'd never see Olivia Benson finding a suit and being like, well, let's bring this to the DA. I just felt like it was a little odd. Or that was a moment of, as a comic book fan, I couldn't suspend my disbelief enough for he wasn't wearing his amulet. That whole thing just felt a little plunky. And then if I have to really nitpick, I really just didn't enjoy CGI Daredevil in the beginning, then cut to Matt doing like baby parkour. I would have rather seen him just climb up a ladder to get to the scaffolding. I would have rather seen him doing something in a practical way as opposed to doing the CGI. That's so nitpicky, but it's just one of those things of, if I'm gonna find a flaw, that would be the one of, I wish we spent a little more time or at least just did practical on that. Because the amazing thing about this show, and what was amazing about the original Daredevil, we were talking about this before we started filming today, is those incredible long fight scenes.
Yeah.
The stunt coordinators on the show are amazing. The folks doing the choreography are incredible. I would love to see more practical fights. So when they had that CGI moment, it did make me go, oh no, I hope that's not what this show is. And luckily it wasn't.
Rob, you had a chance to check it out. I know you've had some of the same worries I did, but you've also been excited for it at the same time. What was your kind of final overall impression when you walked away from it?
Well, here's the thing. What I really enjoyed about it and what I didn't expect, I love stories about characters that try and deny who they are. And through the course of the plot machinations, they realize it's inevitable. They can't walk away from who they are. And like you pointed out, the long conversation between Kingpin and Daredevil, sets that up. Like Kingpin's like, no. I think I really honestly believe in that universe that Kingpin really does. He really
I
has.
completely agree. I don't think he was lying to Matt.
No,
I think he honestly thought, I'm going to go straight edge.
Yeah.
And
I think he
can do
did.
that.
I think he did. But then he has to deal with the fact that his wife has become him. And she's doing a really good job.
Yeah.
You know, she's running this business like without the kind of intimidation, but she's doing it like a CEO. She's
Women in men's fields. Let's
and
go.
and then you have Daredevil over here dealing with White Tiger and realizing that this guy's going to get railroaded, that the cops are bad, there's terrible stuff going on. And Kingpin, I did love the scene when he's in the back of the car, and he's like, they're driving somewhere. What is this? And he gets out, well, sir, we have to wait for this permit. And he's like, give me a break, you know. And I wonder if that's going to play. I wonder if that hole's going to get filled and it's going to collapse later. And it's going to be one of the reasons they didn't have the permit. But I really liked how he walked out there and he's like, look, let's just fix this problem, which I really like, cut through the bureaucracy. And then he had to deal with it more like the chief of police. Like, these people are not going to let him. They're not going to allow Kingpin to be on the straight and narrow. They're going to block him because of who and what he is everywhere. And eventually he's just going to be like, well, I tried.
I thought there was a chance. I thought there was a chance that as the chief was just railing him, like, you're this and you're this, I kind of have, because you could see it crumbling away for Wilson at that point. You saw he's realizing,
this ain't gonna
I can't, because remember that line he says to Matt in the thing goes, what is it? Hating the violent nature that controls us. You know, like, he's realizing he can't escape it. And then Matt has a similar character path that he comes to at the end and goes, I'm going to have to, no, I can't control it anymore.
That's what I really like is, and when you get to that primal scream at the end of episode 2, you know, that's what I really am appreciating, that they've got this storyline. I don't know how it's going to all play out. I don't know how long they're going to string it out before all hell breaks loose. But I really did like the setup of this corruption within the police department that's really corrupt, you know, and the whole White Tiger angle. And I was really surprised at how invested in the story I was right off the bat. I mean, I was talking to you about things that I wanted more of.
Right.
But that's only because I wanted more development of the story that I'm enjoying so much.
Right.
You know, but I really like what they're doing. And look, like you were saying, you can get to it sooner. Like, I would have taken a whole other episode of them developing this whole thing. I mean, like, but other than that, I really was surprised at where it's going. And I'll tell you something else. They did some really interesting things, like the reports from Ben Urich's daughter
or niece or whatever she was.
And I really like the scene where, like, she went in and saw Kingpin, and I really like Tony Soprano's son, you know, James, young Mr. Gandolfini. I like that character and where that's going. It's like,
Daniel's
look, I'm doing you a favor.
What
like,
was his line? Great hole filling, sir.
Yeah, I mean, it was. I like your enthusiasm, you know, whatever. And by the way, can we just talk about how Vincent D'Onofrio is the best Marvel villain?
Oh,
He's so good.
He's so good. I mean, you're looking at him. Look, I really loved Brolin as Thanos, but he's a purple CG character.
How dare you?
You know, but nobody could have played Run From It. He was amazing, but he's still a purple CG alien. Whereas Vincent D'Onofrio, like, and how he kind of smiles, like he knows he's supposed to smile because he's on camera.
His laugh was so bone chilling.
I'm
used to that. Where I was like, nope, I don't want to see you have joy.
Yeah, I mean, because I was afraid after, you know, his Echo interaction. Are they gonna? No. This is full
by the way,
on.
the Tracksuit Mafia has returned.
The Tracksuit Mafia, I love that.
Yeah.
I mean,
Boys are back.
and you know what? It's like that's the way to pull in threads, and when you can fix stuff and elevate it, all that stuff was awesome. And by the way, his wife, she's killing it too.
Speaking of his wife, can I ask you a question? Over under 10%. Over or under 10% that Adam is alive by the end of this season.
Ooh.
Because in episode 1 of Daredevil, I'm thinking, sure. By the end of episode 2, I'm like, nah.
If she says a second time in another episode, you can't kill him.
Don't kill him.
Then he's absolutely going to die.
Oh yeah. I
Adam
just
will be
don't,
the
I
Chekhov's
cannot
gun.
foresee.
No.
Like, no. By the way, that scene, I thought felt another HBO-like moment. And I say that with the highest regard. When they're in couple counseling And she's
with
just
Lorraine Bracco.
and she's just explain. Yeah, I'm like, it's very Sopranos.
But
in
I
here.
really like her.
Yeah, she was
Oh,
great.
yeah.
But like, I love the way it all made sense. Because you think like Vanessa and Kingpin, like they would never have a problem, right? She goes, he disappeared after I sat by his bed for months, and he just left. I didn't hear from him. He never communicated with me. I got lonely, and I got fulfilled in many ways. Ha ha ha. Running the business and all that kind of stuff. And that's left us where we are. It just added to that whole of making everything feel so real.
And you know, what I loved about that is that's the kind of motivation that works in any story, not just a superhero story or supervillain story, because he really loves her. And he has to deal with this, look, because of the work they do, he has to put up with that. Like she had to do what she had to do, and he understands that she had to do what she had to do, but he hates the fact that she had to do what she had to do. You know, and he probably blames himself, and there's recrimination there. It's all in his performance.
Yeah.
I just cannot wait until it goes Unforgiven. Like, both of these guys are William Money. And at some point, Ned is going to be in front of Greeley's, and they're going to take that shot of whiskey, and all hell is going to break
I'm
loose.
very curious at some point there's going to have to be some kind of an uneasy alliance between Kingpin and Daredevil once Muse becomes an issue.
Well, I think that's going to be the issue is they're going to realize we have to team up. Like, they're going to be at each other's throats, and then they realize we're getting effed from all sides, and the only way we can take care of business is if the two of us band together. And I can't wait. I mean, I think this is going to be, I'm stoked, dude. If they pull this off, if it's all about the writing. It's all about the writing.
All right, guys, we could talk for hours about this, but the question is for you. If you saw the first couple of episodes of Daredevil, what did you think about them? I personally couldn't be happier, especially knowing all the worries I had going into it. I was very, very happy with it. How did you feel about it? Where do you think it's going to go from here? What stuff are you looking forward to? Whatever you guys think, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.